So we're back racing in the Frostbites again. This time I am helming with Eoin Kernan up the front crewing. Conditions for this race were around kind of 12 to 18 knots. The course for this race was a simple 2-lap triangle race. So coming up to 30 seconds to go here, we just position ourselves to leeward of Cormac above us in the Melges. So here we're just trying to keep them up to weather, kind of just steal that gap to leeward so they'll struggle to get off the line. Unfortunately they keep drifting down on top of us and kind of refuse to stay to weather. You can see their jib is on the whole time, just pushing them down, which puts them in a really difficult spot. So they end up being a bit of contact, but we just kind of let them away with it and we pull the trigger maybe slightly late. Yeah, it'd be super interested to get everyone's opinion on who thought was in the wrong in that scenario. So after the suboptimal start, our goal here really is just to try and get towards the left side of the course. So we felt that there was less tide on that side of the course, and that's where the gains were going to be throughout the first speed. So we're really just trying to position ourselves in a good position, keep the boat speed up and get to out of the strong tide. So once we hit kind of the middle left side of the beat, we decided to take a tack out. We didn't think there was too much wind on the far left side of the course, and we also just want to try and consolidate between the boats, so we don't want to go all the way left. We want to touch base with Cormac and the other Melges, just because we thought they'd be the biggest competition on the day in this race. And as we kind of touch base with them, they make our lives super easy and actually tack underneath us, so that kind of took any other decision making that we had to do out of the equation. So just fast forwarding towards the end of the beat, we get to the weather mark first and we're on the UI boats. As we kind of round the mark, you'll see the tide running right to left on the screen, so that's kind of the tide that we're trying to stay out of for the entire first beat. Looking back on this bearway and hoist, we probably should have let the kicker off a little bit earlier before bearing away, just to help the boat bear away up from the mark. It's kind of fighting the tiller a bit as we bore away. So with the kite up, we are ripping along and very quickly realised that the jibe mark is probably slightly higher than we'd like, or it'd be comfortable for us on the leg. So you may see the jib flapping and us almost capsizing here, but that's just purely because we're trying to sail a course that's too high for the conditions. So fast forwarding to the end of the first reach, you can see boat behind us is still on the plane. We've kind of come off the plane and not in any breeze really, so we're just trying to make sure that there's no overlap coming into the zone. Not our best jibe here, we haven't sailed together at all before, so that would probably explain a little bit of that. So 2/3 of the way into this leg we realised that we're way below the mark. We're definitely not going to make it with the kite up. So we just opted for an early drop and two sail the last part of the reach in towards the leeward mark. So coming into the leeward mark, there's quite a bit of traffic in front of us. So we just opt to kind of foot off and take a bit of speed and just sail out underneath all the lasers. We didn't want to get into a pointing match with them because they can just slightly outpoint us and we'd just be in dirt. So once we kind of clear the lasers and get a bit of a lane, we again look to tack and just cross towards the left side of the course. We felt like there was a bit of a gain there in the first beat of the race, so we just want to cover that side off and make sure we're furthest left out of all the PY boats. So you can notice that the wind has already come up slightly more than the start of the race. So this leg, the average wind speed was probably around 18 knots. So here we're just underneath the port ley line, and you can see lasers just tacked right in front of us. Definitely not intentional, but yeah, you can hear I wasn't best pleased with this one. Just giving us dirt for the last part of the upwind, which wasn't ideal. So just working the boat slightly high, trying to get out of the dirt and minimize the time loss. So as we approach the starboard ley line, you can see that we've done a reasonable job of keeping above the laser. So just looking for a bit of a fat ley line here just to take into account with the tide. And yeah, we didn't lose too much with the laser. Wanted to get into the video. So at the next windward mark, we have just to stay high and give ourselves a bit of room here above the laser. The last thing we wanted was to hoist the kite and end up on top of them, so we just give ourselves that bit of extra breathing room. We also remembered that the last time we were on the leg, it was quite tight, so just by staying high we give ourselves that extra margin to get to the next jibe mark without having to drop the kite. So you can see pretty early on the leg we're struggling to hold the course towards the mark. Really struggling just to keep the boat flat. So having to sail a bit lower and then go back to sailing with two sails with just main and the spinnaker and just leave the jib flap. So although it may not look the best, we found that this is, I suppose, definitely the easiest and we think the quickest way to hold this high reaching course. So the boats really aren't made for these tight reaches in kind of 18 to 20 knots. They just want to go over once you hit that high angle. So another early drop with the kite just to ensure that we actually get to the leeward mark and don't sail way below it. So at the leeward mark we noticed the ribs are flying a flag just to shorten the race, so from the original 3 triangles it's just down to 2 triangles, so just sailing straight to the finish now. So just coming through this finish line now, thankfully we managed to recover from our dodgy start and we actually took the overall win by I think 25 or 30 seconds.